Hello, and welcome to Tuesday Top Tips. My name is Alicia Ault, and I am the founder of Level Up Score. Thank you for being here for Tuesday Top Tips. I have a really cool topic today that I wanted to bring to you guys, to you credit professionals. And the title of my topic, as you probably saw, was "The Credit Industry is Shifting, Adapt or Get Left Behind." And I think this is really important because things are shifting. And, right now everybody's worried about the new laws that may happen. Right? So we're worried about those and how that's going to could disrupt the credit industry. But we have something right in front of us that is already disrupting our industry, and that is the scoring models themselves are changing. The scoring models themselves are changing, and that's what we should actually be more worried about than any of the laws that may disrupt our industry. Of course, we need to be concerned about both, and we need to be looking into those and being professionals and standing up for what we believe. But right now, no matter what, if a law gets passed or not, we are already having disruption in our industry just by the new scoring model. So I want to go over that today with you. I do have a class that we are doing that's going to deep dive into this. This will be this Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So I'll give you some more information about that at the end of my presentation here, but stick with us so that you get that information, but really stick with us so you can understand how you need to adapt in the coming market that we're going to go through. It is what it is. It's already started. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. I brought you information about how United Wholesale Mortgage has brought Vantage 4.0 to the market. Of course, it's got a lot of guardrails right now. It's only being used for conventional financing with LTVs of 80%. But it's here. And so there's no turning back. It is what it's going to be. And I do predict in the next year to 2 years, widespread, everybody and every lending will be using Vantage 4.0 and possibly also, obviously, FICO 10T. So what does that mean for us as a credit industry? We need to know what that means. We need to know what that means today. And I'm going to give you a little personal story of my life as a loan officer. So a lot of you may or may not have been in the business, but you know about the fall of the mortgage market in 2008. Okay, so I was very heavily in the mortgage world in 2008. And so when the fall happened, that caused a lot of legislation, a lot of changes in the mortgage industry. So many changes. We went from like a 1-page, what we called a good faith estimate, to a 5-page loan estimate. And I'm just giving you part of one of the big changes, okay? But that change in and of itself was really difficult for loan officers because we went from doing something for years and years one way to being told we now have to do it a different way. And it was confusing. It was hard to understand, but also there were so many tight regulations on top of it that we had to be very keen to, or we could lose commissions and stuff. So it was a very hard place for loan officers. And because of the fall of 2008 and because of that legislation change, what happened was a lot of loan officers went out of business in 2008, 2009. And so the industry got a lot smaller in terms of who stayed, right? And the reason I bring that story up is that's what we're going through right now in our own credit industry. Things are changing, and they're changing drastically. But this time, it might not be the legislation that's doing it, but actually the scoring model changes. Now, the benefit that you and I have that I didn't have as a loan officer is that we know it's coming, so we can prepare for it today. And that's what I'm offering you today. I'm going to give you a little bit of insider information. And then on Thursday, the class, I do have a fee for that class because it's a lot of information. It's $97, but you're going to get a lot from me, okay? So that class, I'll give you some more information about that at the end. But I'm encouraging each and every one of you who are listening to this to make sure you're in that class, because you, unlike me as a loan officer, get the opportunity to make the changes today. And those changes today are actually going to be beneficial to your business today. So regardless of Vantage 4.0 in the next few years and how that's going to look, today it's going to make you a better credit professional. So I'm really excited to dive into this. I'm going to go ahead and open up my PowerPoint slide so that we can start looking at this. So again, the credit industry is shifting, adapt or get left behind. We're going to talk about why FICO 10T, Vantage 4.0, and the behavior strategy is going to change everything. Again, the beautiful thing that you guys get, the gift that you guys get, is that I personally am following this very tightly. And there's not a lot of people that can do that because they don't know the industry, the lending world, enough to be able to follow it, not just for the credit industry, but for the lending world. And so I'm going to gift that to you on Thursday. So I'm really excited to bring that to you. But I want to give you some little insider information on that today. Okay. All right. So we're going to go on. Again, my little tagline for today is everybody is worried about the threat to the credit repair industry because of legislation that may be coming. But again, what you guys should be worried about is what is actually, we know for a fact is coming, and that's the new scoring models, because they are actually disrupting the industry right now today. And so the industry is evolving. So we have, the old model, which a lot of us are used to. This is what we came into the industry and we were taught. So it's not like it's a bad thing, but we were taught disputes. And still today, if I go to any credit repair community page, the question I see over and over and over again is, how do I dispute this? How do I get this off the credit? We talk about quick fixes. We talk about score chasing. And I call that the reactive strategy, right? Reactive. So we're reacting to the damage that's being done. That's the old model, and it has been useful for many of us, but I'm going to be honest with you, it's never been great. It's never been great. If you ask a lender, this model was never great. It was okay, and it did work for some people, and it didn't work for other people, but it was okay. The new model, which is what is the behavior strategy that we all have to adapt to now, borrower readiness, being a financial coach, and the predictive positioning, which is what Trended Data talks about, is a predictive positioning. And so the new model is understanding these and being able to adapt as a credit professional to make sure that you are helping people with behavior strategy, right? What is the predictive positioning that they have? Being more of a credit or financial coach, if you will, or borrower readiness, like really understanding the lending principles behind what you're doing. Okay, the law everyone is talking about is the Ending Scam Credit Repair Act. And I hate the name of this because there's a lot of us that are not scams at all, right? So the name is not fair, but there is scams out there. We all are familiar with that too. So the potential impacts are stricter regulation, payment timing restrictions, increased compliance, more scrutiny on our marketing claims. The industry is already under pressure. So we understand this, and a lot of people are talking about this, which I understand. I would talk about it too. But there's other things that are down the pipeline that are actually happening right now. This is a May. Could it likely happen? Maybe. We already have a lot of tight regulation already in our industry with TSR, and we go on and on. But this could potentially put a lot of credit professionals out of business, if not all, right? And so it is a big issue that we need to all be talking about. But again, we also have another industry disruption, and that is the scoring models that we all need to know about, right? And so maybe that changes how we call ourselves, who we are, right? Instead of credit repair professionals, maybe we are borrower readiness professionals. That's something that I teach all of my level of score users, is the idea of how about we be a borrower readiness. We talk about a lot with the groups that I talk to, and they're like, we can't compete with credit sweeps. No, you can't, because they're charging a little fee for work that they're getting done in 7 days. You can't compete because you can't do that, right? But how can you compete? If you're a borrower readiness partner, you can compete all day long because you can be an expert in this one thing that no one else can touch. And that's what I teach in Level Up Score. But that's something I want you guys to think about as we move into this, because this could change everything, right? But we also know the scoring models are already changing everything. And so I just want to make sure we talk about that. So I do have a couple notes here that I want to go over. We should want ethical businesses, right? And that's why this is coming about, is because there are people who think this is not an ethical business. We should want professionalism, absolutely. And we should want better consumer outcomes, 100%, right? That's really what we're here for, is the consumer outcomes. But whether this law passes or not, the bigger disruption is already happening, for sure. This is a maybe. The credit scoring models is a for sure, because the credit scoring models themselves are changing faster than most professionals are adapting. And part of it is because we're not going to be able to do a lot of manual stuff that we can do today. And hopefully you guys aren't doing that. We have level of score that keeps it from you having to do manual work like that. But eventually you're not going to be able to do the manual work because we're looking at trended behaviors, right, over time. And so that's going to take a different approach to how we do business in general. So we're going to have technologies and things like that that are skilled in that way. So really the real threat that we have is the credit scoring model. So we're talking about FICO 10T, Vantage 4.0. The old scoring system focused more on what I call snapshots. Okay, but what does the report look like today moving forward, right? So right now we're looking at snapshots, and when we're looking at Vantage 3.0, we're talking about snapshot credit, meaning that a moment in time predicts your credit score. But the newer scoring systems are analyzing trends and behavior over time, keyword over time. And that actually changes everything. Now they're analyzing utility trends, debt dependency, payment behaviors, spending patterns, balance movement, and long-term habits. That means strategy matters more today than ever. Okay, more today than ever. That means behaviors matter more. That means planning matters more. This is no longer just about fixing credit. So those people who are credit fixers, right? We're just doing disputes, telling someone pay your balance down real fast. It's maxed out, let's pay it down. It's not going to work. This is about understanding financial behaviors. That's how we have to move in this new credit models that are approaching. So let's talk a little bit about what is trended data, because that's what FICO 10T and your Vantage 4.0 are all about. So trended data is looking at our balances increasing, our minimum payments becoming a habit, is utilization climbing, is debt dependency growing. The score in this is becoming more predictive. So in the old model, someone can max out their credit cards, pay them down before applying for credit, and then temporarily could manipulate their credit score. Credit score would increase. The newer systems are designed to see through that. They're designed to see through those moments in time. And now they're asking, are your balance increasing over time, right? What is your spending behavior? What is your financial behavior? Is your utilization climbing, not climbing? How's it going over time? Maybe the good news is for us, we get clients for longer. It's not going to be 30 days and they think they're good enough, right? So maybe that's a good thing in the change. This is why I keep saying over and over again, the score itself is becoming behavioral, right? And so again, over time, and professionals who understand behavior are going to win. And that's why you need to know now. Like I told you the story about when in 2008 and the crash of the mortgage market and how all these loan officers went out of business, they had to go find another job, right? So think about that for a second. Their whole career was this, and they loved it. And then the crash happened and the changes happened, and now they had to find a new job, something maybe they didn't love, something maybe they didn't even understand because they didn't have that skill set. But that's what happened. That's what's going to happen in the credit industry. I'm going to tell you for sure. My prediction is in the next year to 2 years, if you don't do this, if you don't understand this right now, you will be amongst the ones looking for a new job. So if you're unwilling to get on that class on Thursday and pay $97 to learn this, then I'm going to tell you, exit the business now. Go learn another skill so that you can start making that money, because here pretty soon you will be out of business and it's just going to happen one day. And then one day you're not going to know what to do. And you're going to be like all the loan officers who had to find a new job, who struggled, who went through their own foreclosure process on their homes, getting their cars repoed. These are professionals who were trying to teach other people how not to do that. And then it happened to them because they weren't prepared for the changes in the market. You guys are lucky. It's not like today it's one way and then tomorrow it's totally different, like what happened in the mortgage industry. You know right now it's going to change. You have time to adapt. You have time to learn a new process. Those of you who are like, hey, I have my system, it's working really well, I'm making a lot of money, great, go save that money. if you're not willing to change your systems and your processes today. Save all that money, go learn a new skill and get a new job. Otherwise, see me on Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern time, and I'll show you what you need to go do and how you need to change your systems and your processes in your business today. It'll benefit today, but it's going to be a game changer when that happens, and it's going to feel like it was overnight. One day we were doing a thing one way, and then the next day we're not. Okay, I'm not trying to scare you, but it's the truth. It's just what's going to happen. The new scoring systems care about patterns, not moments in time. What we look at today, guys, is moments in time. Okay, a lot of people are like really excited. Oh, when FICO 10T comes out, when Vantage 4.0 comes out, credit score is going to be better. Yes and no. Yes and no. It's also going to be sometimes easier to help someone get their credit improved so they can get that lending opportunity, and sometimes not. Sometimes it's going to take more time. But you're not going to know that. You're not just going to, it's not going to be, hey, it's going to be easier. That's not true. It's going to be harder. Actually going to be harder. All right. So let's go into the old credit fixer model is dying. So if this is what you're doing now, remove negatives, hope for approvals, temporary boost. Great. Keep doing it until it doesn't work, but it won't work here soon. And it never was a good model. That's the other thing that I want you guys to understand. It never was a good model. You know, we as loan officers, we have a saying that's no dispute ever got me a loan. And those of you who are credit fixers focused on getting negatives removed, you are always focusing on the wrong thing, right? But the new way is how it's going to have to be: financial positioning, borrower readiness, sustainable behavior, long-term strategy. And I know it might sound controversial, but the old credit fixer model is simply dying. And so I hope you guys will adapt. I hope to see you on Thursday and see how serious you guys are about staying in this industry. Not because consumers don't need help, right? It's because consumers actually do need help. And you're not going to help them in this model. You never actually helped them really well anyway in this model. Let's be fair. Let's be really fair. But you're not going to at all with this model. Okay? Because the industry itself is evolving. The future is going to belong to those professionals who understand borrower readiness, who understand lending guidelines, who understand lending behavior, who understand long-term strategy, who understand spending habits, financial habits, and how to help someone. It's going to be a lot about being a coach. So maybe one of the skill sets you can learn, I got my master's degree in coaching. Maybe you guys go get some education in coaching, problem solving, right? Strategy, understanding how to do strategy work. That's going to be the new thing, right? Now we built Level Up Score to do this for you. So those of you who use Level Up Score already know. Those of you who don't, you don't know, but you can. And so on that Thursday class, anybody who does attend that Thursday class, if you are new to Level Up Score, you will get a free demo account, and then you'll also be invited to another class where I'll train you how to use Level Up Score and how to add this into your system so that you can be ahead of the game before this change happens. And if you are a user of Level Up Score and you want to go to that training, you can still go to that training, right? But that's something I'll be offering on that Thursday class. The future credit professionals are not just fixers. They are going to be strategists. They're going to be coaches. They're going to be helping people change their mindset. That's the new era that I hope you guys are understanding. Okay, so let me talk about this. AI plus software will change this industry. You will need technology. And that's the other big thing I think I need to make sure I stress to you guys. You will need technology. It will be impossible to scale without technology when we start adapting these new credit systems, okay? And that's why technology is going to matter more than ever. Not to replace you, but to empower professionals. The professionals who can combine strategy, education, and technology are going to dominate. And the professionals who refuse to evolve in this are going to struggle, and they're probably going to go out of business. Like my story of the loan officers. It will happen to the credit industry as well. And, you know, if we think about it, that's with every industry. We have to constantly evolving. A lot of people are evolving now with understanding and starting to use AI. Like that's essential, right? For all industries. Same thing here. It's going to be different. It's going to need software. It's going to need software that understands lending principles, that understands trended behavior, right? And so that combination is going to be really important. So AI can replace generic disputing, but it cannot replace strategic thinking. And that's where level up score comes in, right? That's where you learning about how to be a coach and mindsets and things like that is going to be really essential moving forward in this next phase we're all going to go through. So why level up score matters. Obviously I already talked a little bit about this, but why level up score matters from credit repair to credit strategy. So level up score helps with creating those action plans. So what are the things that the consumer actually needs to do? What are the things that you as a professional can help the consumer with? That's what level up score does for you, so you don't have to think about it. It provides that borrower readiness. It understands the lending principles. It's a goal-driven strategy. It's not generic. It's education first coaching, and it's financial positioning. It's all wrapped up into level up score. So you don't have to know everything, guys, and you will have the technology right at your hands to be really great as we move into these new scoring, but also really today, right? Really great today. So this is not another generic dispute platform, which isn't going to work in the new era. And I'm not saying disputes won't be important later, but I also am not saying they're really important today, right? They're a part of our process. They're a tool, but they're not the answer. And unfortunately, even today, a lot of credit professionals think that's the answer. And so they want to get really good at disputes when that's not the answer. Matter of fact, I've shown time and time again in all my classes where I've watched credit professionals dispute the wrong thing and hurt someone, and not just a little hurt, like a big hurt, a big financial hurt, because they chose to do a dispute on something they should have never touched, right? So it's today even, but tomorrow even more important to understand that. Strategy is going to be the thing of the future. Strategy is the thing today, quite honestly. But the future of this industry is not how do I remove negatives? The future is how do I help clients become more lendable? Now I say future, but again, I'm going to review this. It's today too. It's right now too. Okay. And that's a completely different conversation. So now we're talking again about goal-driven strategy. We're talking about borrower readiness. We're talking about lendability. We're talking about I say goal-driven strategy, education first, right? Understanding this credit system, being a coach, understanding mindset. How do we help people change their behavior, their financial behaviors, or their thoughts about money, like all of that. Like that's going to be really important in this new era. So the future isn't about score chasing. It's about borrower readiness. So here's my prediction. See how many of you guys would predict the same thing. My prediction is within the next 1 to 2 years. Now, this is my personal prediction, and I'm going to tell you a story after I tell you this. But I predict the next 1 to 2 years, these newer scoring systems will become mainstream. And that's going to be across all lending, whether that's auto, home, business, everything. These are going to be mainstream. And when that happens, a lot of this industry is going to struggle because they waited too long to evolve. Again, meet me Thursday and I'll show you so that you know. A lot of professionals are still operating with an outdated mindset. But the professionals who understand behavior strategy, right? Predictable positioning, financial coaching, budgeting, right? Money matters, a mindset, have technology, and borrower readiness skills. Those are the people that are going to dominate in this next era. Absolutely dominate. The rest of you are going to be gone. I'm predicting that. So here's my personal story. Before the fall of 2008, I was very heavily in the mortgage industry. And I'll tell you the whole story because there's a lot of details that started that trend to what was going to happen in 2008. And I saw it. I saw it firsthand. So 2 years before the fall of 2008, someone came and interviewed me, and I told them the mortgage industry is going to crash. And I told them specifically why it was going to crash. Now, I'm not a, what do you call them? I'm not like, I don't have a crystal ball or anything like that, but you can see trends of things that happen, right? Sometimes when things are too good to be true, some of those, But I saw the trends because we were giving loans to people who couldn't even get a credit card approved, right? But we were giving them a home loan, right? The biggest debt that you may ever have. We were doing that. And that was, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to get into the stories, but the trend was happening, and there was, most people could predict that 2008, there was going to be a drop in the market. And that's what happened. And that's what I'm predicting. Same type of thing, different scenario, but same type of thing in the next 1 to 2 years with the new score models. These models, I believe, will be mainstream, taking over all industries. The cool thing is we won't be confused. Oh, mortgage credit scores, look at FICO 5, 4, and 2, autos FICO 8 with the auto overlay, business funding FICO 8 and sometimes FICO 9. Now, like, we won't have maybe that confusion with this when they become mainstream. I think that's going to end that confusion. So that's one benefit. But it's definitely going to be something that's going to happen in the next 1 to 2 years. Old tactics will stop working. Strategic professionals will win, and technology becomes mandatory. And I don't mean dispute technology. I mean strategy technology is going to become mandatory. That's my prediction. And I do predict that will happen in the next 1 to 2 years. So again, pushing level up score to you guys, because I know that's what you're going to need to have. Okay. So we'll talk more about that on the Thursday class. So the future credit professional, this is what you look like. You are coaches, you are strategists, you are educators, you are borrower readiness experts. You understand, you've niched down. If you want to work with someone who's getting a home loan, then you understand the lending background of that. Like, what does that person actually need to have, right? And this is going to create better client outcomes, stronger businesses. You're not going to be looked at like a scam anymore, because you're going to be getting people to their goal. Right now, if someone comes to you and says, hey, I want to buy a house, and you're like, great, let me look at your credit report. All these negative things, let me get those off your credit report, and then you can go buy a house. And then they can't buy a house. That's why we look like a scam. Then the negative items come back on the credit report. That's why we look like a scam. If we all work so hard to make sure they actually got to the goal of buying the house or buying the car or business funding, we would never have been looked at like a scam. Think about that for a second. If we would do our business right, meaning when someone comes to you and they say, hey, I want to buy a house, can you help me? And you just don't take them on and take their money without having a proven system that you can help them go buy the house, we wouldn't be a scam. We're a scam because we don't have that. Today, we don't have that. And I'm not talking about everybody, but most of us, because we weren't taught that way when we came into the industry. We were just taught, hey, negative items dispute, gets the credit score up, they can go buy their stuff. That's not true. It doesn't work like that. Those of you who were at CreditCon and got the opportunity here, Edgar Cruz, which I was very impressed by, he talked about these banking scores. And though we don't have necessarily banking scores, not like a number system, there is what I like to simplify it as like a checklist. I like you is on one side, I don't like you on the other side. So we're trying to fill in as many I like yous as we possibly can to get you approved. And so we don't just look at the credit report. That's like a small part of it. I always say the score gets you in the door. It's the report and the financial health markers that we look at that actually give you the keys. And that's the part we miss as credit professionals. Where's that part, guys? Where's that part in your journey for your clients? Or do you even have a journey for your clients? Or are you just doing disputes? Behind the scenes. Hey, I'm going to dispute this. Oh, it didn't work. Oh, I'm just going to dispute it again. How many times are you going to dispute it? Right? Before the client gets a complaint for judgment, which happens a lot. I get those phone calls. Working with this credit repair company, and now I got 2 complaints for judgments. Yeah, you do. Because you thought it was a great idea to have a credit professional dispute 10 times. Of course I want my money. If you owe me $5,000, I'm going to get my $5,000. Fair? So think about the creditors that you're disputing and what's going through their head. So I kind of got off my subject, but it's passion. You can tell I'm passionate about this, right? I want us to be, we are valuable. We are needed, but we've been looked at as a scam because we're not truly helping people get to the credit goal. So this brings me to the class. This is the class that'll be this Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. It is, and I don't do this very often. I don't have classes that I advertise that I actually have a cost for. I do have a cost for this one because I do have unique understanding of behavior strategy. And I think it's worth something. And to invest in this tells me that you're serious about your job, right? You're not going to be the loan officer. And unfortunately, the loan officer didn't get an opportunity to learn before it happened. It just happened overnight. You guys get the opportunity to prepare for it before it happens. Quite frankly, it's already happening, right? So you guys get that opportunity. So that's this Thursday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. Please mark that as Eastern time. A lot of people come in an hour late thinking that we just started. It is $97. You will get the replay, any assets and guides and things like that that I can create for you, you will get. Those of you who are new to the credit industry, this class also gets you a free demo account of Level Up Score. You will also be invited to another class where I actually help you figure out how to put this in your system, how you can actually, guys, if you're just starting, you haven't even gotten your first client, like how do you make this into a business where you're helping people buy a house or buy a car or whatever that might be. So again, that's this Thursday. So everyone who joins the class is going to receive access to free Level Up Score demo account. If you are already a Level Up Score user, obviously you already have that, but you can also join that training. Then we're going to do that additional training where I'll show you how to use Level Up Score in your business, how to position yourself for the future, how to create strategic client conversations, and even how to start a business if you're absolutely brand new and trying to enter this industry the right way. I'm offering that gift to you because the professionals who are going to win over the next couple years are not just people who know credit. They're going to know strategy. They're the people who understand strategy, systems, behavioral scoring, positioning, and technology. Again, the professionals who use strategy plus technology are going to win in this new era. So I appreciate all of you. I'm really excited for this class. Again, that's Thursday. So mark your calendars for that. Again, there is a cost. This is the bonus thing that I'm doing with that class. Those who enter, if you're brand new, you will get the Level Up Score demo account, teach you how to use it, teach you how to start making money. I'll teach you how to talk, how to walk, all the things to be a really good credit professional. And then it's adapt or just get left behind. This is what it's going to be, guys. The industry is changing, whether people are ready or not, whether you believe it or not, whether you want to change or not, whether you're saying, hey, the way that I'm doing it today is working really great, I'm not going to change. Fine, don't. Save up your money and then go learn another skill, because you're going to have it, because it is dying. The way you're doing it now is dying. You're going to have to do it a different way. So excited again to present that class. We call that the credit shift, from repair to behavioral strategy and how to win. So it's not just educating you on what the changes are going to be, but I'm going to educate you on how to win in that. So I'll see you there this Thursday. That QR code will get you registered. I appreciate you all. Have an amazing day. Happy Tuesday. Kind of feels like a Monday, but it is Tuesday. I almost forgot to do a Tuesday top tip today. So it was like right last minute to get this out to you, but I appreciate each and every one of you who are watching this. And thank you for being credit professionals. Thank you for being what Level Up Score, we call you success bosses, because you're truly out there to help a person get to a major goal for themselves. And they need you. It's not taught in school. It's not taught by mom and dad. Mom and dad don't know. This is our opportunity to give back in a big way. So we know that credit opens up opportunities that, just simply are available for a lot of people. A lot of people don't have cash to make their dreams come true. And credit is that strategy. I saw somebody post the other day, this is kind of funny. They said, would you want great credit or bad credit and $250,000? And someone, I said, $250,000 every day. And I thought to myself, if I have great credit, I can get more than $250,000. So I'm going to go with the great credit, because I know from my own personal life that having great credit allowed me to become a millionaire in my 20s by buying my first home. That's my story. And if you guys want to hear it, please ask me, because I'd love to share that. But credit gives opportunities that aren't available for people who don't have money. And that was me. So again, thank you guys for being here. Have an amazing day. Have an amazing week. And I look forward to seeing you guys on Thursday.